Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. And today, the Houston Rockets lose the Sacramento Kings 120 to 111. Tough loss for the two-seeded Rockets, going to 15-7 after winning their last 3 or 4 games, going into this game and won their last 10 out of 12 games, and was just coming off getting a really, really good win against a one-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder team. And look, I'm not going to say I'm surprised the Rockets lost in the game. I just say that the way the Rockets played in this game was a little bit surprising. Got off to a really hot start. First quarter was great. The energy the Rockets brought up to the first quarter was fantastic. But here's what I will say this game reminded me of, just a little bit, was the game in Milwaukee. The Rockets in Milwaukee had a great first quarter, and absolutely spectacular in the first quarter against Milwaukee a couple weeks ago. Maybe that was 4 weeks. I think it was 3 weeks ago. A little bit over 3 weeks, probably, against Milwaukee. Had a great first quarter, and then they kind of slipped in the second and third quarter. Now, I think the only difference in this ball game is they didn't have a bad third quarter in Milwaukee. Their third quarter wasn't great in Milwaukee. It wasn't good, but it wasn't as bad as it was in this game tonight. They gave up 42 points in that quarter. I mean, offensively it was good. They had 29 points. That was their highest scoring quarter of the night. But the amount of points they gave them in that quarter really hurt them. I mean, they were still leading going into the second half, even though they got outscored by 6 in the second quarter. But that third quarter really hurt them, and they tried to bounce back in the fourth quarter. They tried to make a couple runs, got the final score down to a 9-point ball game, 120 to 111, but just really failed to come back into the ball game. I mean, this game was not as close as the Rockets Milwaukee were. The Rockets were able to come back against Milwaukee and actually take the lead after being down double digits. But I think this game reminded me a little bit of the game in Milwaukee. Now, here's the good thing for the Rockets. The Rockets already clinched their group before this game, so it doesn't really eliminate them or anything like that. And here's the other good thing. With Denver beating Golden State, the Rockets will host a knockout game. Now, things could have been totally different. If Golden State would have ended up beating Denver, which is a very close game, most likely the Rockets would be going to Golden State and not the Warriors coming to Houston. That's a big difference. Look, I think the Warriors are struggling right now. They've lost 5 games in a row, and I like the Rockets' chances against this Warriors team. I know the Rockets did lose the Warriors earlier this year in overtime, but I think the Rockets are a way more talented team now than they were in the beginning of November compared to the Warriors. And I think the Warriors are a little bit worse than they were in the beginning of November. The Warriors have now gotten to the point where they're starting to lose some games, and the Rockets have been. I think both teams are different teams than they were in the start of November, which was when the two of them matched up against each other. But what I will say is I think it's a lot easier for the Rockets to win in Houston against Golden State than in Golden State against Golden State. It's a lot easier to win if you want to head to Vegas. And so excited for the match that the Rockets are going to have against Golden State. Just last week, I was watching some old highlights for the Rockets from the 2017-18 season, 2018-19 season. And when you're watching highlights of the 2017-18 season, the 2018-19 season, there's a bunch of Rockets and Warriors in there. And so it's crazy seeing all the Rockets highlights from those 2 seasons, and also seeing the Rockets versus Warriors highlights. I went on a little bit of a marathon from those 2 years, watching highlights and seeing all those good games, regular season and postseason. And we're gonna see another big game between these two teams. Look, I think it's a little bit different. The Rockets team is not the same team as they were then, and the Warriors aren't the same team as they are now. And not only that, but back then there was no such thing as an in-season tournament or an NBA Cup. So this is a new type of level of Rockets Warriors playoff basketball or meaningful basketball, a lot on the line. You could say, I wouldn't call it playoff basketball, but meaningful basketball, a lot on the line for both teams. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. That's what this kind of is. That is what this is going to be between the Rockets and the Warriors. So, and it'll be a lot different when, what we saw in those matchups in 2017-18 and 2018-19, but I'm still so excited for it on Wednesday night, I think I'm correct, Wednesday night against the Warriors, 8:30 on TNT. Another thing I want to say is that this is going to be something that you do not see happen often in the NBA, that will happen between the Rockets and the Warriors this year, and wasn't even possible to happen, until the NBA added this new feature of the NBA Cup last year. The Rockets and the Warriors will face off this year in the regular season a total of 5 times. So we've already seen them go up against each other once in the game early in November, where the Rockets lost in overtime but came back from a 31-point deficit. Tyrese went crazy. We will see them Tuesday night. Yes, it is the knockout round, but it's still considered a regular season game. The Rockets play 2 more regular season games. They play Golden State Thursday night. And so that's their second game against Golden State. Then they also play the Clippers Sunday night. So Warriors will be their 23rd game of the regular season, the Clippers 24th. That Warriors knockout game is considered their 25th regular season game of the year. So that would be their 3rd matchup against the Warriors. Then in February, again, the Rockets play the Warriors in Houston, which is the should be the 4th and final matchup in a normal circumstance. But I think it's April 6th, something like that, at the end of the year, in Golden State, you see the Rockets and the Warriors match up a 5th and final time, which is not something you see often. When you have these, normally in these last couple, besides these last, this year and last year, you haven't seen this at all. So the Rockets will face off against the Warriors 5 times this year, not including potential playoffs. We've seen years where the Rockets have, match up against the Warriors, way more than 5 times. I mean, they played them 4 times in the 17-18 season, then had a 7-game series, and then played them like 3 or 4 times in the 18-19 season, then had a 6-game series. So we've seen a lot of games between these two teams, but never have you seen 5 games for the Rockets against them in the regular season. I don't think the Rockets have played 5 games in the regular season against anybody. That's very interesting. All right, now let's get into some stats from this ball game. 120-111 is the final score. This was a tough night for the team. I mean, Jalen had a really good night, still very inefficient. But 28. I mean, look, tonight he was efficient. But this has also been a team in Jalen's career where he's really had success against the Kings. 28 points tonight, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 9 for 14, 5 for 8 from 3, 5 for 5 at the free throw line. Jalen was cooking. Sengun, 10 for 20, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He did bang knees in this game. I think it was with Sabonis, I'm not sure. I can't remember. But he did bang up his knee a little bit in the second quarter. Now, this did scare me initially because I was thinking right off the bat, I'm like, this cannot be back-to-back years where Sengun has an injury in Sacramento. His season-ending ankle injury last year was in Sacramento. But Sengun still had a great night. Unfortunately, he does not get his normal double-double. Was 2 rebounds shy. Might have got that if you played the final couple minutes of this game. Sengun was ejected alongside his coach, Ime Udoka. Tempers did rise within this game. Look, I will say I thought the refs were pretty terrible in this game. I thought there were a lot of missed calls that could have went the Rockets' way. But at the same time, I still think the Rockets beat themselves in this game. I think the refs might have helped the Kings a little bit, but I mean, they still get 42 points in the third quarter. Their defense was worse than it's been most nights this year. So I think there were a lot of bad calls that the Rockets made, but let's not act like the Rockets didn't beat themselves in their own ways, like giving up 42 points in the third quarter, giving up 120 points in the ball game, missing 6 free throws. Missing 6 free throws changes the entire ball game. Look, it's not often you will see a team make every single one of their free throws, but still, shooting 71% at the free throw line is bad. And 6 missed free throws, let's just say they make every single one of those, although that's very rare and unlikely, but if they did, you're looking at a 3-point ball game. So missed free throws, too many points given up, is what you're looking at with the Rockets, losing this game. Not because of the refs. I thought the refs made some bad calls, but I don't think there were any calls. I think there was like a late call in the game where Keegan Murray and Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks got called for an offensive foul. It was actually the play that fouled Dylan Brooks out of the game, and that does affect the game though. And instead of calling a blocking foul, they called a charge, and that would have been a 3-point play for Dylan Brooks, and that definitely was troubling. But look, that's only 3 points. The Rockets lost by 9. They were losing by as many as 12, 13 points in the fourth quarter. That could have changed things for the Rockets, but I thought there were missed calls that should have been made, but the Rockets, I don't think that would have changed the outcome of this game. But the rest were still terrible in this game, if you ask me. I went over Şengün and Jalen Green. Van Vliet, unfortunately, after his great game, of course, he goes into a bad shooting night from 3. It was actually a pretty good shooting night for Van Vliet outside of shooting the 3 ball tonight. He shot 5 for 7 from the floor outside of threes, but then shot 1 for 10 from 3. He had 13 points, 2 rebounds, and I think this is what really hurts the Rockets is when Van Vliet's not facilitating the basketball. Only 1 assist for Fred, and not great defensively either. I think the Rockets can afford Van Vliet to have a bad shooting night, but if Van Vliet can have a bad shooting night, you cannot afford for him to have a bad defensive and facilitating night at all. And it's not like a lot of other other guys were going out there and getting assists. Like Şengün had 6, that's great. But Şengün's been averaging 5.5 assists per game. So it's not like that's higher than his usual. So he has 3 triple-doubles on the season. So I think not facilitating the ball that well tonight really hurt the Rockets. Only 3 assists off the bench. Outside of Şengün, the Rockets starters only had a total of 5 assists. I think that really hurt the Rockets in this game tonight. Got to get back to facilitating the basketball tonight. 14 assists. It's going to be one of the lowest assist totals of the season for this team, if you ask me. But the 2 other starters, Dylan Brooks, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 3 for 6, 2 for 3. Another game where Dylan Brooks coming off a great game, doesn't have his best. Look, it's sometimes we'll see Dylan have these games where he has one great game like he did against OKC, and then the next night he'll have an absolute bad shooting night. This was not the case. 3 for 6, 2 for 3 from 3. He was making an impact when he was on the floor, had 8 points and 3 rebounds. But the problem was him being on the floor. He only played 24 minutes because of deep foul trouble. Foul trouble caused him to not get enough minutes in this ball game. And eventually fouled out on an offensive foul. Keegan Murray hitting the deck. All right, off the bench, Tari Eason did have 16 points, 12 rebounds, 5 for 15, 1 for 5 from 3, 1 assist, 3 steals. 3 points for Amen Thompson, 1 for 5, 1 for 4 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. He did have half of the free throw misses tonight. Jason Tate played 2 minutes at the end of this game. He did nothing but get a steal and foul. Steven Adams played 12 minutes, took 1 shot, missed it. Got fouled, though. Went to the free throw line for 2 shots, made 1, missed 1. Here's the, I think, important impact for Steven Adams. 6 rebounds in 12 minutes. which is pretty solid. I mean, look, I think Adams doesn't get a lot of minutes, but when you do get minutes, he is very good at rebounding for this team. Aaron Holiday had 6 points. Aaron Holiday got hot, made 2 threes, really helped the Rockets in this game. Cut the lead down to 9 with a couple trays. He had 2 rebounds as well. Reed Shepherd had 6 points. He shot 3 for 5, 1 assist, 6 points. He was 0 for 2 from 3. He was perfect from the floor, not shooting threes. Jeff Green, Jack Lando, Jack McVay, DNPs. For the Kings tonight, De'Aaron Fox, we've been hearing rumors about him coming to Houston, 22 points, 7 assists, 9 for 19, 4 for 6 and 3. The way the Rockets facilitated the basketball tonight, with Sengun being the leader in assists with only 6, and no one even being close to him with assists. The closest guy, Jalen Green, being 3. Hey, the Rockets could use some facilitating. We'll see if Fox is an addition for the Rockets, although I don't know. I don't know what the Rockets would give up to get Fox, because Amin Thompson, and it looks like Amin Thompson and Tari Eason are untouchable. It looks like Jabari's untouchable. Jalen, I don't think is untouchable, but Jalen's not going to get a deal done. But Fox had a good night tonight. Sabonis was great, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. DeRozan had 16. Monk had 17. Isaac Jones had 12. Look, I think you look at the records compared to the teams. The Rockets are the 2 seed. They're 15-7 after the loss. The Kings are 10-12 now. It looks like the Rockets lost a bad team. The Kings are not a bad team. They just don't have a good record. The Kings have too much talent to be 10-12. The Rockets, the team they lost to tonight, is not. This is not the team that. This is not a normal 10-12 team. This is a team that has 3 all-star players on their team. I mean, DeMar DeRozan hasn't been an all-star in about a couple years, but Sabonis, Fox, all-star type level players. DeRozan's been a near type all-star. Malik Monk has been a 6-man year candidate, was finished second place in 6-man of the year voting last year. They have good shooters like Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray. Don't have a great bench outside of that. That's where I think you miss out. You got a good head coach. This is not a team that you would see being 10-12. So the Rockets, they lost to a team that has a bad record but has a very talented basketball team. But the Rockets need to bounce back when they play the team they will play in the knockout round, but it won't be in the knockout round. The Rockets play Golden State in San Francisco on Thursday night. Now, the whole thing of it, that's not the cup, that's not the knockout game. It's Golden State in Golden State. Then continue the West Coast trip, which is a 3-game West Coast trip against the Clippers on Sunday night. And then back to Houston for the biggest game of the year so far against the Warriors in the NBA Cup. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Rockets.